Tell a little bit about the structure and the model itself.
Okay, it's obviously a model of the Spirit of St. Louis built off of Nick Ziroli plans. Precision kit cutters cut most of the ribs, and the hard parts are laser cut by them. It's a 138-inch wingspan, and it's a quarter scale version of the Spirit of St. Louis, and it weighs about 40 pounds.
I noticed that this particular model had a real radial engine on the front, not a mock-up. Tell us a little bit about your decision and that motor.
Well, the Ziroli plans call for a Zenoa motor and with some phony cylinders glued onto the outside, which looks okay, but I decided if I was going to go to all of the trouble to build a model of the Spirit, I wanted a real radial engine. So I selected Evolution, an Evo 160. It's a 160cc motor, makes about 10 horsepower, and it was the right diameter to be scaled for the model. And it runs real well, and that's probably the highlight of the whole airplane. Okay, the radio system is Futaba. It uses 7 servos total. 2 for the engine, 2 for the ailerons, 2 for the elevator, and 1 for the rudder. The servos are powered by 123 batteries, and I have 2 of those. And it's got what's called a smart fly, which is a backup for the battery system, so that if one battery fails, it automatically switches over to the other battery. The engine runs off of a 2-cell LiPo, and that's a separate deal, just that only powers the engine.
The engine ignition.
I'm sorry, the engine ignition, that's correct, which is a CDI ignition, and that's the recommended battery.
So you had a chance to fly it. What's your impressions?
Well, it was a little more responsive to elevator than I thought it was going to be. Being a big airplane, I thought it would be pretty tame, but actually it's pretty responsive for such a big airplane. It has a lot of power, so much more than the airplane was designed for. So we never flew it over about half throttle, and it responds to the throttle real well. But it's pretty stable. It just in the pitch mode, you have to be real careful with the elevator. It's pretty sensitive to that. The ailerons aren't real effective, so I have it mixed with the rudder. So when you make aileron turns, it actually puts rudder into the airplane, so that it makes a somewhat flat turn. It doesn't bank very much. The ailerons are pretty small.